This tool is unbelievable in terms of what it can do for you. And I'm going to show you some of the things that it'll give you. Okay, for example, we get into finance by type and source. So unsecured startup loans. That's one of the hardest things you'll ever have to get in business. And here's an excellent source right here. More unsecured business loans. Then we get into venture capital. And we found sites where you can get viable, validated listings for more than 525 U.S.-based venture capital firms, plus a brief description of the investment preferences of each source. Then you just click on the name of any venture capital firm, and it links you directly to that firm's website. And so you want the ones that are in the U.S., here's your link. You want the ones that are in Europe, here's the link. You want the ones that are in Canada, here's the link. Then listings of more than 160 private equity firms. Same thing. Here's the ones that will take you there. Angel investor groups, listing more than 30 angel investor groups. Here's the link that will take you there. Then there are other forms of asset-based lenders and factors. First Commercial Credit, here's the link to them. Capital Solutions, here's the link to them. iBank, here's the link to them. GE Commercial Finance, here's the link to them. Foothill Capital, here's the link to them. So forth and so on. Goodman Factors, right on through. Goodman Factors, you're going to want to know these guys. I've seen them do deals nobody else would touch. So good people to know. Future financial credit card sales. In other words, you're doing credit card sales. You want to finance credit card sales you haven't even made yet. These people do that. So there's how you get to them. Purchase order financing. Here's how you get to them. Credit insurers, a whole new way of financing a business here that you probably aren't even familiar with. Here's how you get to them. It just goes on and on and on and on and on with these different types of sources. Then we get into all the different types of business associations and trade associations, listing more than 1,000 trade and other business groups, because these people are all sources of information for any particular industry that you want to go into. So if I were going into a certain industry, I'd want to link up with the trade association in that industry, because they're going to be able to tell me a whole lot about the industry. So again, it's how do you find them and get into them. Government research tools. All of the U.S. government grants are all now consolidated into one place. So you don't have to go to 1,000 places to find all the government grants that you could possibly qualify for. You just go right there. Federal procurement. So you want to know how to sell to the government. Here you go, right there. It takes you right through all of the different tools, all the different methods, all the different places, all consolidated into one place. The IRS, well, you may or may not ever want to go there, but it's there for you. It's just part of that government resource. Because believe it or not, these folks actually keep statistics that you have access to that can really help you in understanding businesses. Standard Industrial Classification System. How to get your information through OSHA, how to get it through the SIC codes, how to get it through Small Business Administration, U.S. Census Bureau, how to get all of your NAICS codes. The reason that these are important is if you're planning to go into any business, every business that exists, every business has a special code that identifies that industry and that business within the industry, and it's in these NAICS codes. And so by going here, you can get those NAICS codes. You can identify which are the ones that apply to the businesses that you want to go into or that you're in, and then from that NAICS code, you have incredibly accelerated your ability to get information about that business because you know its NAICS code, and by just going to Google and the other search engines, you put in those codes and bam, up comes all the industry information, all the business information that's pertaining to that particular NAICS code. So knowing this about your business makes research for your business and industry incredibly easy. The U.S. Postal Service, zip code lookup, private research tools. Now this one's important, BizStats, because if you're a private individual, you can't get into something called RMA annual statement studies. They only make their studies available to banks and financial institutions and people who pay a lot of money, thousands of dollars a year, to subscribe to their service. But BizStats does 85% of the same stuff, and you can get into it basically for free and get all the information you need about the financial statements in a particular industry or for a particular business. So these are incredibly powerful tools, and you wouldn't find these things, chances are, if you're just out there Googling stuff, because you may not know the right thing to ask for, or you may not be able to refine your search well enough to get you what you're looking for. But we have all of these important tools really listed out here in ways that it becomes obvious what it is that they are and how it is that you can get them. Chambers of Commerce and how to get into any Chamber of Commerce. Directory of corporate affiliations. In fact, if you have nothing to do on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon, come on into this thing and start punching around on some of this stuff and see what it has to offer you. But something like corporate affiliations, you get into that stuff, and all of a sudden you find that there are these tentacles that go out there that can tap you into resources you didn't even dream existed. I mean, they're absolutely awesome. Directory of Directories, Dun & Bradstreet Online, Encyclopedia of Associations, Moody's Manuals, New York Times Index, just goes on and on, Standard & Poor's, the Thomas Register. This thing here, if you just need one or two things, they have a way that you can use the Thomas Register without getting into a big fee to them that will tell you any supplier of anything in the United States. You want to know who can I buy what from, because this is important when you're trying to shop at the lowest possible price for anything. So this is an invaluable tool here for learning where to find things at the lowest possible cost. So you get into these things. U.S. Chamber, U.S. Industrial Outlook. Keep going down here. Okay, internet search engines that are really attuned to business. You know, we all know Google, we all know Yahoo, but each of these has different peculiarities to them, uniquenesses that make them great for certain types of searches. So there's About.com, there's All Business, there's Alta Vista, AOL, Ask, there's B2B Yellow Pages, BizWiz, Business.com, Dogpile. I mean, you got to go into Dogpile just to see what it'll have for you that no other search engine will have for you. Excite, Hotbot, InfoSeek, Lycos, Metacrawler, MonsterCrawler, all of these. I mean, there's just so many of them, and each has a different take on how they get you information that would be unique to a particular business or a particular field. These things just go on and on. Then the various newspapers and all of their particular links, because the Financial Times will have articles that you won't find anyplace else. Investors Daily, same thing. Journal of Commerce, Los Angeles Times business section, New York Times business section, Wall Street Journal. There are certain magazines that will give you articles that you can't find unless you go through their own websites. So it will take you into American Venture, Barron's, Businessweek, Dunn's Review, Entrepreneur, Euromoney, Forbes, Fortune Small Business, Inc., Institutional Investor, Money. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Bloomberg, Econoday, Wall Street View, Yahoo Finance. So again, it'll tap you into the right parts of these search engines to get the highly specialized information that you're going to want. It'll take you to the top business websites, the top 20 of them, which is, you know, the Yahoos, the CNN Money, the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Bloomberg, Businessweek, Google Finance, Financial Times, Biz Journal, NBC, Hoover's. This is an incredible resource. You got to go into Hoover's and see what they have for you. If you want any information on any public company, this is where you go to get it. Entrepreneur Magazine. This one here, I'm actually going to take you to a page here that's absolutely incredible. Think about this. You're starting a new business. You've got to staff up your company. You've got to write job descriptions for the CEO you want to hire, for the accountant you want to hire, for an executive secretary. If you don't have a job description, how do you know what you want to look for? Well, I don't care what kind of job you got in your company that you've got to fill. You don't have to write that job description, at least not from scratch. You go in here to the link. It takes you to this place here. You go down to job descriptions. When they come up, they actually look like this, like you're going to hire a CEO president. It gives you the summary of what the position calls for, what the primary responsibilities are, what the additional responsibilities might be, the knowledge and skills that are required for the job, the working conditions that will be true for that particular office. Now, these are starting points. They're not meant to be your ending points. But if you have to sit down and write a job description for your CEO, you don't want to spend 2, 3, 5, 10 hours coming up with the basics. This work's already been done for you. So now you go in here and you read each one of them and say, well, is that what I want? Yes or no? Do I want it to say it that way? Do I want it to say it a little differently? Are there some things in here that I want that aren't covered? But it's a whole lot faster once you've got this basic template to work from. And there isn't a position you're going to want to fill in any company that they don't have a job description already done for. And there's no cost to this stuff. So this tool that we've prepared for you just saves you incredible amounts of time, because all the things that are important to business people in the buying and the building of their business. We've identified the major categories, and we've consolidated that process down to make it really quick for you to find this stuff, including things like worldwide utilities. Because if you're dealing across international borders, you're going to have to convert currency, so we've made those sites easy for you. Time conversions easy for you, so you know where are you, where are the other people, what's the common time element, how do you work your time versus their time, and even things like what's weather, what's going on for the folks in the area that I'm calling or the area that I'm doing business in. These basic international tools are here for you to use. So take some time, get into this research with internet links, start poking on these links and just see where they take you and see the phenomenal resources that this puts at your fingertips for getting things accomplished for your business. Okay, take questions for a few minutes if anybody's got any.
It was great to review all this material and all the stuff that's inside Bazaar Pro and all the material that's there, and I identified a couple things I need to go back and review myself.
Yeah, well, that was the purpose of it in part, and to let people know how comprehensive it is. We just don't leave anything to chance. We know what's going to happen. We know what obstacles people are going to run into. We know what the challenges are. We know what everybody needs to know and understand in order to overcome the challenge. And we know how to make that as simple and as easy to do as it can be made to do. Obviously, there are things you just can't make simple, but you can make them doable, and that's what we've done.
Rob made the content. He said another excellent webinar. Thanks a lot. So he did comment in that.
All right. Well, we're past the time, so I want to remind everybody that we have another webinar coming up in 2 weeks. It's the one on question and answers, and it's designed specifically to get into what questions do you have that are applicable to you and the business you want to build, your challenges, how can we help you overcome them, making sure you get your answers. If you need connections to somebody, making sure we get you connected. We're here to really support the hell out of you. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We want to make you a raving fan of Bazaar Financing. We want you telling everybody you know that they got to be here because they'll never get knowledge, information, support like we provide here. That's our goal. That's our objective. So we want to make you a raving fan. We want to contribute to an incredible success on your part. And we have here what you need. It's all here. And one of the ways that we've gotten as comprehensive as we are and have developed these tools and methods to the level that we have is because folks like yourselves who have used Bazaar Financing have come back and taught us every bit as much as we've taught them. The folks who use this stuff come back and tell us things like, I tried technique X, it didn't quite work for me, but I changed it to this, and here's how I made it work. Well, guess what? We incorporate that into the program. Or somebody comes back and says, I tried to use the tool, but it wouldn't give me a certain thing. Well, we made sure the tool does it. Or I tried to use a tool, and it was a little difficult for me to figure it out. So we go in and we try to make it simpler. We take every bit of feedback that we get here, and we convert that into making this whole system more usable for you, more friendly, more authoritative, more comprehensive, more detailed, whatever it takes to satisfy what you need it to do. You're as much a part of our process as the information itself. Your feedback to us is invaluable. Your questions to us are invaluable. And everything that happens within the context of that keeps making these tools better and more usable for others. So we welcome anything that you have to input back to us. So please be active in this process. Be prepared to ask questions the next one of these sessions. And I'm as anxious to play my part as I can possibly be and do the very best I can for you. Thank you all for being here today and for being part of this. I want you to put your dig into this hat on for the next couple of weeks and really start getting into the tools and the things that we have available here for you. And come with your questions. Please come with your questions. And be prepared to tear apart anything that doesn't look like it works for you. There are no such thing as dumb questions. Every question is important because if you don't understand something at the highest level, then we're going to dig into it and make sure you understand it and make sure that it's that much easier for somebody else coming behind you to understand it. That's what we're here for. We're here to serve you and to make what you want to have happen, happen. So again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our meeting and getting to know each other during future webinars.